Volume 30, Volume 30, Volume 40, Volume 48.
College Gymnastics fan going live on YouTube, streaming live on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to upload 2 gymnastics meets on YouTube today. I mean, like yesterday I uploaded 3, Saturday I uploaded 2, so that's 5 meets total. I got the ESPN app, but I really can't stream anything live on this app because sometimes it says media not allowed. But I think I can go to like, see here you can select the sport. See, you can go to gymnastics. It will tell you live and upcoming. Has on demand. Let's go to PSU, Penn, and Temple.
It's Friday night in Philadelphia. This is NCAA Gymnastics on ESPN. As we welcome you inside McGonigal Hall for the 2022 Keystone Classic, the Temple Owls welcome in-state rivals Penn State and the University of Pennsylvania. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Kopp alongside former Georgia gymnast and NCAA All-American Noel Couch. Noel, we are obviously so excited to get this gymnastics season underway, but even more excited because for the first time in 2 years, we've got fans back in the building, and that just brings so much extra energy.
Absolutely. It is exciting to be here, Kevin. We have 3 teams on the floor and fans in the stands, and we're looking forward to an exciting game.
We thank you for being with us here. It's the opening weekend of the NCAA Gymnastics season, and we are going to get right to it. As Noel said, all 3 teams will be going here simultaneously. It is a tri-meet, so over the next 2 hours, we're going to keep our heads on a swivel. We will be bringing you each and every routine from all 3 teams here this evening as Temple is ready to open their season on vault. The first vault is underway, and officially we have a routine in the books here, Noel.
It's exciting. We just had our first vaulter go, and that was Lainey Hyman for Temple Gymnastics. She opened with a front handspring front pike there. A little bit of a step on the landing, but as you said, our season is underway. Here we go.
All right, Penn opens on bars. Penn State opens on floor. 1 routine in the books for Penn, and that was a routine that was a long time coming. They did not compete last year. The Ivy League did not compete in the 2021 season, so Penn has waited 2 years. Isabel Song, a freshman, gets Penn underway on bars, and on the floor exercise, a 5th-year graduate student, Alyssa Bonsall, getting the season started now for Penn State.
And it looks like we've got second gymnast getting ready to go for Temple on vault. We're waiting for that first score.
And meanwhile, off camera, but just below us here from our broadcast standpoint, unfortunately for Penn State, not at all the start that they wanted as Bonsall took a fall on her third pass. So a little bit of pressure on the Nittany Lions early here as they will have to hit their next 5 routines. You have 6 up, 5 count in NCAA gymnastics, and so a little bit of pressure here on Penn State here on the road as we look at Temple. We are awaiting the first vault score for Lainey Hyman. That was a 9-9 start value vault, and the rest of the vault lineup for Temple. Senior Juliana Rowland will be up second. You see her there at the end of the vault runway, just trying to stay loose and stay ready. Graduate Tori Edwards will be third, followed by 2 freshmen, Anna Hill and Hannah Stallings, who will both make their collegiate debuts. And in the anchor spot for Temple on vault is Ariana Castrense, the school record holder in the all-arounder. She will not be competing in 4 events this evening. We'll see Castrense on 3 tonight.
And as you said, Kevin Juliana is stepping up now. She actually earned an NCAA selection as an individual on this event in 2021. So we'll see what she's bringing to the table here tonight.
Yeah, she's also a school record holder with a 9-9 score. And pretty remarkable to see her second in the lineup for Temple with that school record. And you see, we'll go over to Penn now on bars. Up second for the Quakers is Anna Kennefic.
Anna finishes her routine with a double layout and a very nice landing there. She's actually a twin, and her sister Sarah is next up in the lineup.
After Isabel Song opened things up with a 9-6 for Penn, as Noelle just mentioned, Anna and Sarah, the Kennefics up second and third. Sophomore Connie Sue will be up fourth. Sophia Restaino, a senior, will be fifth. Junior McKaylee Marr in the anchor spot for Penn. Temple's Lainey Hyman opened with a 9.55 on vault, and now up second for the Owls will be Juliana Rowland. Penn State with that opening fall scores an 8.925 with Alyssa Bonsall on floor to open the meet. And here is Rowland.
Yurchenko full, very nice landing, big vault there from Juliana. Should get a good score there for Temple.
And well, obviously, this is just the first meet of the season, and as these teams will get ready for postseason form, you'll start to see more focus on landings, but I think right now, head coach Josh Nielsen will be happy with a big ball, a lot of power, a lot of distance from the table, and then let the landings kind of work themselves out as the season goes on.
That's right. The coaches are really looking for these girls to start strong and look confident in these first few meets. And as you said, as the season progresses, those landings will come. And so to see her start strong with a big vault like that tonight and have the landing there is good to see.
How about this for a big test on floor exercise right after a fall? Now you've got a true freshman, Jessica Johansson, up second for Penn State following a fall. Pretty pressure-packed routine to start her career. And there is a look at Johansson, the freshman, following an 8.925 from Bonsall.
So this is Penn State, Temple, and PSU. It's the Keystone Classic.
And a nice double tuck there. Beautiful landing.
All right, now we've got our triple box coverage just in time to see that dismount, twisting dismount from Sarah Kennefic in the third spot for Penn on the uneven bars. Penn is at the bottom of your screen. Top right of your screen is Penn State on floor exercise, and top left is the Temple Owls on vault. Up third on vault, here's the graduate, Tori Edwards.
And again, another Yurchenko full there. Good landing, small hop back, but as we mentioned earlier, the coaches will be happy to see that big ball and the girls being aggressive here at the start of the season.
Tori Edwards coming back for her 5th season, and that's going to be a recurring theme, Noelle, across all of college gymnastics. Everyone with an extra year of eligibility from the COVID-shortened season, and so you have a lot of fifth-year seniors in the sport, but I think you can attest from your time as a gymnast, after 4 years of competing, doing a fifth year is pretty daunting. I mean, this is a sport that is so brutally demanding on your body. To do a fifth year takes a heck of a lot.
It's true, Kevin. It is a lot on your body, and by the time you get to be a collegiate gymnast, you're on that older end of the scale there. And so to see these girls come back as fifth-year seniors is incredible. It really is, and it's inspiring to some of the younger girls to show that, hey, you've got what it takes to be able to continue in this sport, even at whatever age you might be. So it's exciting to see Tori out there as a fifth-year senior, and she's actually a team captain this year as well.
All right, top right of your screen, up third for Penn State. This is a routine to keep an eye on. Lauren Bridget, a graduate, one of these fifth years, coming back, but she is also coming back, Noelle, from an Achilles injury. So we had all of that on top of it. Great to see her able to get out there and compete on floor.
Wow, and a great opening pass there, double tuck, very nice.
See,
landing.
this is a
Let's see what she
three-ring
has here with her second
circus.
pass.
So they're trying to show you all the events at the time. That's why they have
that
the
layout, step out,
it in little squares. So the
And as we
first
said, it really
square
is great to see
is
her
the
out there
vaulter,
performing well. She's
second
having fun
square
with this
for
routine,
exercise,
to be able to come back
third
from that
square
injury with her
vault.
Achilles tendon tear.
third
It's
square
impressive. She
bars.
should have all the confidence in the world right now, and she's showing her teammates as well that they can get out there and be strong.
And while that was going on in the top left of your screen, we saw the collegiate debut for Anna Hill, one of the Temple freshmen that we will see in the competition line. Kurchenko layout full, probably the cleanest of the Temple landings, not as much distance off the table as we saw from Roland or from Edwards, but good clean vault, just kind of popped up on the landing a little bit. We'll see what that scores for the Owls from that 995 start value.
And Coach Nielsen had mentioned that she actually competed a 1.5 last year, and she should be able to get back to that vault maybe by the third or fourth meet this year. But for now, we're starting with that full, and looks like Temple's continuing strong through their lineup.
Next up for Temple will be freshman all-arounder Hannah Stallings, one of twin sisters. You mentioned the twins, the Kenneficks on the Penn roster. Temple has incoming freshman Stallings twins. Sarah Stallings will not debut tonight, but expects to be an all-arounder for Temple, a potential all-arounder in the near future, and add a few more routines. Here is Hannah Stallings making her Temple debut.
Wow, big vault, very nice landing there. Coach Nielsen had mentioned that she does not land like a freshman. She looks like she's been doing this for a while, and as you'll see there, she looked very comfortable with that Yurchenko pull and the landing.
Yeah, huge amplitude there for Stallings, and an exciting way for the two freshmen, Hill and Stallings, to open their seasons and their Temple careers. Ariana Kostrense remains for the Owls on the vault, and then Temple scheduled for 2 exhibitions on vault here in the first rotation. Over on floor, Cassidy Rushlow, junior, getting ready to go after a 9.75 from Lauren Bridget. So Penn State has bounced back nicely, hitting 2 routines after their opening fall.
And Penn State needs to keep it up through this lineup. As you had mentioned, we had that fall with that first routine, so hopefully these girls can continue to remain consistent throughout the rest of the lineup.
On the bar, Sophia Restaino finishing up with her dismount. And unfortunately there you see a step out on the second pass for Rushlow, so a 1/10 neutral deduction coming there.
One and a half, 2 front layout for that second pass. Big amplitude on those leaps. Judges always like to see that.
Mary's Kostrense's vault, a big Yurchenko layout full. She'll do a Yurchenko double full, and Coach Nielsen hopes to see that upgrade probably in the latter third of the season, get it ready for postseason, but Temple is through their vault lineup.
The strong finish there on floor. As you mentioned, you have that 1/10 deduction that will automatically come off her final score, but it's a hit routine.
3 hits in a row now for Penn State after the opening fall. They need 2 more to drop that opening 8.925 from Alyssa Bonsall. They've got a freshman, Isabella Salcedo, up next, followed by Melissa Astorita, a senior, in the anchor spot for the Nittany Lions. And over on bars, finishing up the competition rotation for Penn State is junior anchor McKaylee Marr.
Ooh.
So we'll go back to floor right now. Meanwhile, McKaylee Marr is back on her feet, and that is a good sign after a scary moment there. So let's go to floor now. Isabella, Salcedo after a 9.625 from Cassidy Rushlow, up fifth on floor for Penn State.
She opens with a punch double front tuck there, and that's a skill that you don't see very often on floor. Very unique. She landed it well.
And very heartening at the bottom of your screen to see Marr is going to finish that routine after the scary fall on the transition.
It's always a little scary to see falls like that. And having been in a position similar to that, you never know what can happen. So it is very good to see her back up and to finish that routine. It's also good for her teammates as well. It keeps the momentum positive.
Well, we saw an exhibition vault from Temple's Mackenzie Aresta. They'll have one more from Summer Rusky. We'll see some exhibition routines that do not count toward the team scores throughout the evening tonight.
Strong finish from Bella on floor. It should be another good score for Penn State there.
With their senior Astorita remaining in the anchor spot. Floor was statistically Penn State's weakest event last year. They were ranked 39th in that event. Penn State finished the year 33rd overall. They are ranked number 29 in the preseason poll this year, so a regionals team from a year ago expected to get back there this season. Temple finished 30th last year, was selected to the NCAA regionals as a team. They were matched up against Arizona in the play-in round of the Salt Lake City regional. Unfortunately, because of COVID protocol issues, Temple was unable to compete as a team, so a bit of an anticlimactic end to what was, Noel, a really exciting year, and I think a big step forward for this program in Josh Nilsson's third year. And this is a team that wants to get back there and compete again and be able to actually go through that moment of competing as a team. They did send their 3 individuals there. You mentioned Juliana Rowland was one of them, along with Faith Leary and Ariana Castrense. But Temple really wants to get back there and have the proper NCAA regionals experience that was denied them a year ago.
Absolutely, and Coach said that this is actually the best team he's ever coached. And so to have seen the success they've had over the past 3 years and to hear from Coach that this might be an even stronger team is promising.
All right, on floor exercise, the final competition routine of this first rotation. Here's a look at Melissa Astorita.
Opens with a big open double tuck. Maybe you don't see that very often. Gymnasts tend to grab their legs whether they're doing a double back tuck or double back pipe, but as you saw there, she had her arms open to the side. And so it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Exhibition routine from Kristen Kuhn on bars, and Penn is through as is Temple. So all eyes on Penn State now as they finish up the first rotation, coming off of a 9.25 from Bella Salcedo. Just a note, if you're following along with the scores at home in the bottom right of your screen, obviously the Temple and Penn scores a little bit slow to update as the Penn State scores come in. So we will keep you updated as we progress throughout the evening.
Second pass is a double pike. A little bit of trouble with that landing there. The judges will take a deduction. She was a little off balance. But again, another hit routine, which is what they need right now.
And we will have one. Looks like one more exhibition vault for Temple and one exhibition floor routine for Penn State before we take our first break of the evening. Here's Summer Rusky, Temple freshman.
Not the vault she was looking for, but Coach did say that they do have a lot of depth in their lineup. And as you can see, they have girls who are in the lineup. They also have a few girls who are pushing the lineup and are in these exhibition spots. And with teams like this, it's important to have that extra depth in the lineup because it's great in practice knowing that there are girls behind you who can easily step into your place. So it pushes the girls who are in the lineup to actually be better and step up their game as well.
There was a look at Josh Nielsen in his fourth year as head coach of the Temple Owls. They have won conference championships in each of his first 3 seasons. They were in the ECAC for his first 2 years, won the ECAC title in Ithaca in 2019. The 2020 season was ended prematurely, so there was no conference championship. Temple awarded the title for having the highest RQS or NQS of the ECAC teams. And then last year, Temple moved to the Eagle. Big step up in competition, and they won that meet with a 196.5, a school record last year, beat a couple of nationally ranked programs, and were named Eagle champions in their first season in the conference. So looking to continue that streak here in 2022. And our last routine in this first rotation will be sophomore Maggie Ayers in exhibition for Penn State.
Out of bounds for that first opening pass, so she will receive that 1/10 deduction. But this is great experience for these girls, especially on the road. Able to perform in front of a crowd like this, you know, it's always different being in competition versus practicing these routines in a gym that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, Noel, as we were talking with Penn State head coach Sarah Brown earlier this week, I said one of the things, floor is always a really tough one to open on the road, I feel like, because it is an event that comes so much from energy and enthusiasm. You want to feed off of your crowd. And I will say there is a great Penn State crowd here. They've got folks that have obviously traveled from around the state to be here in the Philadelphia area tonight, but it's still tough. I think it's tough for the very first event of the year because you want to just maximize all that energy and that enthusiasm and harness it right away. And sometimes it's a little tricky.
It's true, and like you said, there are many Penn State fans here. I actually spoke with the Kennefic parents before coming in, and they had traveled out of state to be here. They flew up here even in the snow, and so it's exciting to have the big crowd here tonight and really get those jitters out of the way, especially on the road for a team like Penn State.
All right, one rotation is in the books. 2022 Keystone Classic. We will update those unofficial scores and get them to you as we begin rotation number 2. We'll come back. You're watching NCAA Gymnastics on ESPN. Kevin Kopp, Noel Couch with you. One rotation in the books here at the Keystone Classic. We're going to take a look at some rotation one highlights, Noel. We'll begin with Temple on vault.
Temple had a strong start on vault. As you saw, there were some big triples in this lineup. A lot of good landings as well. Maybe not some perfect sticks, but they were close. And that's what the coaches want to see at this point in the season. Start strong, big amplitude, and the landings will come.
You got a couple of freshmen in there with their first career vaults, Anna Hill and Hannah Stallings, Ariana Castrense in the anchor spot, and Penn finally back in competition after 2 years away. Just good to see them back out there as they opened on the uneven bars.
It really is great just to see them back in competition. As you said, it was an entire year that they weren't out there. The Ivy League didn't compete last year because of COVID, so it's exciting to see these girls back on the competition floor, and they had a good start on bars as well.
And Penn State dug themselves a little bit of a hole as they had a fall in their very first routine. Certainly not the start that they wanted to the season, but they dug out of it nicely. They hit their next 5 routines. They dropped that low score early on, and they'll go to vault now, coming off of a pretty good floor exercise that I think they can feel good about.
Penn State came back strong after that initial mistake that they had, and they're moving on to an event now where they can continue that momentum and stay strong with their team and hopefully continue to have those big vaults on this next event.
All right, one rotation, is in the books. In the second rotation, Temple will move to bars. Penn will move to beam, and Penn State, as I said a moment ago, will move to vault. Unfortunately, as you may have seen, the live scoring, well, it's everyone's first meet here tonight, we'll put it that way. So we're a little behind on scores, and we will do our best to get you as many as we can as we go on here. So we are still waiting on official team scores at the end of one rotation. We've got a pretty good idea of where Penn State stands just because we happen to be pointed right at the floor judges, and we know that Penn State had a 48.550 on floor. That puts them just a touch ahead of a 194 pace, so certainly not exactly what the Nittany Lions I think wanted, but again, starting with that fall, having to build out of a hole, we'll see what they can do now as they move to vault.
And it is the first meet of the season, and so these girls are coming off, a long preseason. They've been working on their routines for a while, but it's different when you get on the competition floor and you're in front of a big crowd.
Very curious to see Temple on bars. This was statistically their weakest event last year. They were ranked 41st in the country on bars, and as we talked with Josh Nielsen earlier this week, Noel, he described it as potentially a whole new world for this team on bars. He's the bars coach as well, so I know he takes a lot of pride in that apparatus, and be very curious to see what we see from the Owls here on bars in rotation number 2.
He was excited about his bars team. He actually said that this is the most depth that they've had on this event. He said they have 9 girls who are ready to go, which is more than a typical lineup. So it's exciting to know that there are girls who are pushing that lineup, who want to be in there, who want to compete, and so we'll see what they bring tonight.
They did have to make one switch after warm-ups, and that is Serena Whalen, who was supposed to exhibition, is now into the bars lineup. We were hoping to see the bars debut of Brooke Donabedian, but was pulled after warm-up. So Brooke is still in the lineup on both beam and floor, where she excelled last year as a freshman. But the bars lineup for Temple: Tori Edwards, Hannah Stallings, Serena Whalen, Caitlin Gray, Jewel Clark will make her collegiate debut in the 5th spot, and then Ariana Castrense will anchor. Penn is out beam, Penn State on vault, and we are underway in rotation number 2.
Here we go, and as you mentioned, Tori will be starting us off here on bars, and she's our 5th-year senior team captain, so she's got some experience here. She should be starting us off with some confidence, and here we go. Starting off up to the high bar. Strong to Pachev. Handstand, a little short on that handstand. Makes her way down to the low bar. Shoot over. Back up to the high bar. Oh, it goes over on that cast handstand. Unfortunately, sometimes when the gymnasts try to hit the handstand just perfectly at the top, you can often overshoot it and go just a little bit over. And when that happens, unfortunately, it does cause a fall, as you just saw there. But it'll be important for her to hop back on the bars and finish strong to show her teammates that they'll be able to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, Noel, just as we said with Penn State in that first rotation, you dig yourself a kind of a big mental hole, as now you kind of know the pressure's on these next 5 routines here to try to come back from a fall.
It's unfortunate to start with a first routine like that, but as we said earlier, Coach mentioned that this is the event that they have the most depth on. He feels confident with this team, and so hopefully we can see the next 5 in the lineup pull through.
All right, you just saw Courtney Chinner second on vault for Penn State after an opening 9.75 for Melissa Bonsall, so I think Penn State will feel very good about obviously setting the table, no pun intended, on vault with that opening 9.75. They'll try to build on that score from there. The rest of the Penn State vault lineup behind Bonsall and Chinnery, the 2 graduates, are a freshman, Jessica Johansson. Junior Cassidy Rushlow will be 4th. Freshman Elizabella Saucedo will be 5th. And graduate Lauren Bridgens in the anchor spot. So some freshmen and then some real experience in this Penn State lineup with all 3 fifth-years for the Nittany Lions on.
And we have Hannah Stallings up next on bars, and she's a true freshman, so this will be a big test for her. A freshman needing to step up after a fall on that first routine that we've had.
Big expectations, as we said, for Hannah Stallings. She's a freshman. This is her first collegiate meet, and she's starting in the all-around. She had a 9.725 on vault for Temple, and gets an extra word or two from Coach Josh Nielsen as she gets ready to go here second on bars. A little extra delay here as the judges now have their scores in on the uneven bars, and Stallings will go momentarily. Over on vault there in the top left of your screen. Oh, beautiful Yurchenko full.
Big Yurchenko full, stuck landing. Penn State will be happy about that one. As you can see, her teammates running down the runway to greet her and give her a few high fives.
That's her first ever vault.
That's right.
That's pretty darn good.
That's pretty good.
Jessica Johansson, welcome to collegiate gymnastics. Stuck landing on vault to begin her Penn State career. That is super exciting right there.
It's exciting. There's nothing like that first vault feeling, and even more than that when you stick it. It's incredible.
All right, Stallings up second for Temple on the uneven bars, following an 8-9 from Tori Edwards.
Starts with that big ray. Moving down to the low bar and right back up. Very nice handstand as she gets ready to finish her routine here. Big dismount, huge amplitude, and the best part of that is that she hit her routine. She came back from that fall, she proved herself and to her team that they can keep it going here. And coach called her a game changer, and I think that defines it right there.
Yeah, and I think she'll have time to find that landing as she goes on. I mean, it is so high over the bar that she'll have plenty of time to spot that up as she gets more confident. Back on vault, Cassidy Rushlow.
Yurchenko full there, big step back, so the judges will be taking a deduction there. But again, she was going for that amplitude, and that's what we're looking for at the start of the season here.
All right, that's 4 vaults in the books for Penn State. Long delay here on beam as the judges had to get together after the opening beam routine from senior Sydney Craze. So long wait here for Kristen Kuhn, who's up second. Campbell Marr will be third. Sarah Kenefick will be fourth. Natalie Yang fifth, and McKaylee Marr will be in the anchor spot on beam for Penn. Here you go, up second, Kristen Kuhn.
Kristen starts with a wolf turn there. And as you mentioned, they made her wait a while before she started this routine, and sometimes that can get to your nerves, so we'll see how she does here.
Yeah, on beam of all things.
Right?
Cruel.
It is. That handspring layout step out, very nice.
Meanwhile, bottom of your screen over on the uneven bars. Up third for Temple, this is sophomore Serena Whalen.
Kacha there, very big over the high bar. Two giants, big dismount, little step to the side. The judges will take that deduction there, but again, another hit routine there for Temple is what they need.
Yeah, and Whalen, again, stepping into the bars lineup after warm-ups were complete. She has delivered a 9.85 in her career for Temple. So again, as you said, Noelle, the key word is depth, and you have to be ready to go in and step in there, and she was. And a good hit routine from Kristen Kuhn, who finishes up on beam for Penn.
Kristen finished with a round off 1.5 there for her dismount. Small step on the landing, there'll be a deduction for that, but a hit routine nonetheless after having to wait for a while before she started that routine.
Yeah, after that long delay, it was a 9.5 for Sydney Craze in the opening position on beam. Opening rotation scores, we'll circle back around to that. Temple and Penn State were tied at the end of one rotation with 48.550. Penn a full point behind at 47.550. Those were your opening rotation scores. Still plenty early. Temple gets a 9.7 for Serena Whalen, and up fourth on the uneven bars, a transfer from the University of Bridgeport, senior Caitlin Gray.
Big release move there from Caitlin to start her routine. Shoot over down to the low bar. Nice handstand there. Giant full to a double back dismount with a stuck landing. That is huge. That's going to get the girls excited, keep their momentum going, and you can see them just jump right on her after that routine. They're excited to see that stuck landing this early in the season.
All right, back to Penn State now on vault.
Ooh, big vault there, half on front pike, a unique vault you don't see too often. She had a lot of amplitude there. Couldn't totally control that landing, took a big step. So the judges will have a deduction there. But she definitely got height on that vault.
Is Isabella Salcedo, and Lauren Bridgens remains in the anchor spot for Penn State. One routine left here before Penn State gets to the halfway point. And that is a 10-0 start value vault. Isabella was a JO national champion, so brings a great pedigree with her as a freshman to Penn State, one of those gymnasts that Sarah Brown is super excited about. Back on the bars now for Temple, making her collegiate debut, freshman Jewel Clark.
Mistake there for Jewel. She was supposed to release off of the low bar and catch the high bar, and as you saw, she never actually released from that low bar, so that will count as a fall.
So a tough break for Temple, as that means they will have to count a fall here after the opening 8-9 from Tori Edwards. So Clark will have to finish up, and then Ariana Castrense remains for the Owls in the anchor position. But tough break here, and not what Temple wanted at home as they were starting to get things going a little bit, it felt like, on the uneven bars. In the anchor spot for Penn State, Lauren Bridgens.
Wow,
big 1.5.
Big 1.5 there. That was a huge vault from her. It's nice to see a 1.5 this early in the season as well in the first meet.
Point again, coming back from Achilles, line landing. She's done floor. She's doing a 1.5 on fall. It's great to see.
It really is.
It makes you really, really happy.
It's impressive, and to see her out there, a big smile on her face as soon as she's done with that ball, she's got to be proud of herself.
Great way to cap off the rotation for Penn State. We got into a little trouble there with the score in the 9-3 range from Rushlow, but seem to have picked it back up. Meanwhile, we've had long deliberations on beam. We're plotting through beam. A 9.675 from Kristen Kuhn. Up third is sophomore Campbell Marr for the Quakers.
That handspring layout step out there from Campbell. Very nicely done stuff. And there's a lively atmosphere in here tonight, Kevin. The music is going.
Yes.
The crowd is loud. And so to have that sort of atmosphere when you're on balance beam like this is, you know, it's something you've got to be ready for. And so I'm sure these girls have trained in practice, probably with the sound on loud and some cheers in the background to be ready for this.
Well, Noelle, you come from the world of, competing in the SEC. You're competing in front of huge crowds, but typically in dual meets, where on beam, you've got the nice quiet music, you've got the respectful, polite fans, and here, it's the multi-team competition where you've got floor music pounding, you've got folks cheering, you've got things going on all around you. It is a different world to try to block all this out, but it's good preparation for the postseason.
It really is, and you saw her stick that last landing even amidst all of the craziness that's going on in here, but it's true. Usually beam is one of those events where often you even get to choose your beam music sometimes, and so you can choose something that's a little bit more mellow, but that is not the case in here tonight.
All right, Campbell Marr brings Penn halfway home on beam, finishing up for Temple on the uneven bars, Ariana Castrense.
Ariana's a senior, so she's got experience here. And she is following, as we said, those 2 falls, but it would be important for her to finish strong so that Temple can stay in this meet. 2 giants to a double layout and a stuck landing. So they will end on a positive note there on bars.
I think that's a great point, Noelle, is you really want to take something with you. Obviously, the team score is going to take a hit having to count the fall, but you get some momentum, you get some good feelings. You've still got half the meet on beam and floor. 2 events where Temple really excelled last year, and you hope for the Owls that Castrense can give them a little bit of a lift as they turn the page.
It's true, and you just never know what can happen in a meet. So you've really got to stay focused on you, your team, and what you can control. You can't control what the other teams are doing, and it'll be important for Temple to stay in that mindset for the rest of this week.
All right, well, we're going to get to spend some time with the Quakers here as Penn State is done on vault. Temple is done on bars, no exhibition for the Owls, and we still have a handful of beam routines remaining, so we'll get to check in with Penn. And we will work to update you on the scores at the midway point. 9-8 is the score from Castran. So that'll be the high score on bars for Temple.
A strong way to finish that event, and they'll carry that with them to floor as they move on to their next rotation. Or beam, I'm sorry, they're actually heading to beam, which is even better. They'll keep that strong start.
I think the judges have not seen eye to eye. I think they've had to conference on every one of the 3 beam routines for Penn thus far. If the judges either disagree on the start value or are too far apart on their final scores, they will get together and confirm what they saw. And again, I said it earlier, it's everyone's first meet. Everyone's got to knock a little rust off.
It's true. Everyone from the gymnasts to media to the judges. And so we'll hope that they get on the same page here moving forward, keep these routines going.
Well, yeah, all joking aside, it is a hard event to be standing on the end of the beam and have that extra weight. We're looking at Sarah Kennefic, who is getting ready to compete 4th for Penn after 9.5 from Sydney Craze, 9.675 from Kristen Kuhn. And we are awaiting the score here for Campbell Marr. The judges have finished their chat. And often this will be whether to give credit for a connection or whether the connection was missed. It looks as if, from the one judge we can see, has a 9.8 start value, which may indicate a missed connection there.
It's true. Oftentimes it can be subjective as to whether or not a connection was actually made, and so that could be the difference between the 2 start values that the judges have. But it looks like Sarah is ready to go and present it to those judges.
9.625 is the agreed upon score for Campbell Marr. So here we go. Sarah Kennefic, Natalie Yang, and McKaylee Marr, the last 3 on bars for Penn. Or excuse me, on beam for Penn.
Layout, step out, solid landing. Big amplitude on those jumps, the judges always like to see that. Round off to a 1.5 layout dismount. Small step on that landing. Her teammates are there to greet her with those high fives. Another hit routine. Penn has got to be happy about that.
All right, now 2 routines remain on beam. Natalie Yang, who is a senior for Penn, up next. Really a great beam worker for the Quakers. Again, it's just so hard to know. You haven't seen this team compete in 2 years, but early on in her career, she was really excellent and was a beam anchor early in her career for Penn. So we'll get to see her along with McKaylee Marr, and then an exhibition from Kirsten Belkoff. We're still 1 score shy on Penn State's vaults, and I think that 96.850 may come up a touch. So we will work to track down the missing scores here.
You see Timber over there on the bars, mats. They're getting ready for beam, starting to warm up, practice their skills. It's important to keep moving too, because you don't realize it, but if you stand around for too long, it starts getting cold, your body starts getting, a little bit slowed down, and so it's important for these girls to stay in it mentally and physically as well. So I'm glad to see the girls getting on those mats and start warming up their routines. see Penn State as well, just kind of moving around, staying loose, practicing some of their skills on the floor. And again, we've got a little bit of delay here on beam.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
not making it easy for Penn.
4 for 4.
The girls have been doing a good job of staying in it though mentally. It is tough to do that. It's almost equivalent to icing a kicker in football.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. All right, we are pleased to report that scores are starting to come in here. Alright, so the scores that you are seeing on the bottom of your screen now are completely accurate and up to date. Penn State out in front after a very good performance on vault. They went above 49, which is kind of the magic number. 4 events at 49 apiece will get you to 196, and I think that is a score that any of these 3 teams would sign for tonight. So Penn State goes 49-025 on vault. Great bounce back after a little bit of a slow start on floor. They are in the lead by just over a point, about 1 point and 3/10 over Temple, who did have to count that fall on bars. And Penn still competing on beam here. Natalie Yang is up 5th for the Quakers.
That's right, Natalie just mounted the beam and she's got her routine underway here. Let's see what she can bring. Her handspring layout step out. She was slightly off there, but seemed to cover it well. Split leap to ring jump there. That's a tough skill. You're taking your eyes off of the beam to look backwards and then have to bring your eyes back to the beam. So she had a little bit of a balance check there. Front aerial, no wobble at all there. That was pretty. Moving through this routine with her dance, and she should be getting ready to finish up soon. Full turn. A little off balance, but again, trying to cover it up there. Side aerial to tuck, full dismount, step on the landing, but again, another hit routine there from Natalie. Her teammates are there to greet her, high fives all around, and they get ready to bring on their last competitor.
5 hit routines for Penn, so a little bit of a pressure-free anchor spot for McKaylee Marr, though they'll try to improve on the low score right now, which is a 9-5. Drop that opening score from Sydney Craze and add a few tenths to that beam total right now. You can see the 9-6 is coming in from Sarah Kennefic. We will await the score for Natalie Yang. Let's do a little score recap since we were intermittent getting those scores into you in real time since we've got a little bit of time in between routines. Temple began the meet on vault, opened with a 9.55 from Lainey Hyman, 9.7s from Juliana Rowland and Tori Edwards, 9.725s from Anna Hill and Hannah Stallings, and then a 9.7 from Ariana Castrense, 48.550 for the Owls on vault. They opened in a tie for first with Penn State. Unfortunately for the Owls, they counted a fall in the second rotation on bars. They opened with an 8-9 from Tori Edwards. Followed that up with a 9.65 from Hannah Stallings, 9.7 from Serena Whalen, 9.625 from Caitlin Gray. The second fall came from Jewel Clark, an 8.775, which was dropped. And then Ariana Castrense had the high score for the Owls in the anchor spot with a 9.8, but it was a 47.675 for Temple, and they will drop, as you see, about a full point and 3/10 behind Penn State at the midpoint. For Penn State, they opened on floor and started with a fall, but luckily were able to bounce back and hit their next 5 routines and drop an 8.925 from Melissa Bonsall. Jessica Johansson, 9.575. Lauren Bridgens, 9.75. Cassidy Rushlow, 9.625. The high score was Bella Salcedo, the freshman, 9.825. And Melissa Astorita had a 9.775 in the anchor spot. Then Penn State went to vault and really blew it up there. Though interestingly, their highest scores came early in the rotation, which is not what you often see. You want to see those scores built through the rotation. They came out on fire. Bonsall 9.875 in the opening spot. Chinnery 9.85, and Johansson, well, what a start she's had as a freshman. 9.9 in her first career vault. That was that stuck landing that we saw in Marladover. She went 9.9 on that Yurchenko layout full. They dropped a 9.325 from Cassidy Rushlow, 9.65 from Bella Salcedo, and then a 9.75 from Lauren Bridgens. So weren't quite able to sustain those early scores, but enough to go 49.025 to take the lead in the meet. And goodness me, the judges have gotten together again. We are 5 for 5 in judges' conferences here on Penn's Beam.
Kevin, you were able to get through all of those scores before we even started.
I would have gone slower. I have more time.
Right? We're filling in the time here. Jeez.
Penn, meanwhile, on Beam, really got things started in a great way with a 9.8 from Isabel Song in her very first routine, and the first routine back for the Quakers after that long delay, missing the entire 2021 season. And then 9.425 from Anna Kennefic, 9.325 from Sarah Kennefic. Connie Sue had a 9.55, and they dropped one of the 8.75s from Sophia Restaino and McKaylee Marr in the last 2 spots on par. So we're fully caught up now, and here is McKaylee Marr in the anchor spot for Penn on Beam.
2 back handsprings to a layout, step out, stuck, clean. High amplitude on those leaps. Moving through this routine. Kaylee finishes with a round off 1.5 dismount. Very nice landing there. And Penn is finally done with being. And I have to say, it's almost more impressive that they were able to compete as well as they did with all of those delays. So
yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
Now, they do have an exhibition listed, though I believe it looks as if they are going to move along. And so we will move along as well. We are 1 score shy of being official through 2 rotations. We will wait on that final beam score for McKaylee Marr. We'll have that for you when we come back. But 2 rotations are in the books, and we're halfway home in the inaugural Keystone Classic. Coming back to McGonigal Hall after this. forecast is brought to you in part by Fresh Grocer. For every score of 9.8 or higher in tonight's meet, the Fresh Grocer of Progress Plaza will help beat hunger by donating 1 case of non-perishable goods to Fill Abundance, Philadelphia's largest food bank. Welcome back here to McGonigal Hall, the Keystone Classic. In-state rivals Temple, Penn, and Penn State competing here in McGonigal Hall. Kevin Kopp and Noel Couch with you. As we get set to begin the third rotation, let's take a look back at our highlights from rotation number 2, as we are now at the halfway point of tonight's meet. Noel, we will begin on vault, where Penn State came out of the gate on fire and put together a couple of big scores early.
They really did. Penn State had some big vaults. They came back from floor, really increased their overall score there. A few huge sticks, as you just saw there.
Yeah, that was the highlight right there. Freshman Jessica Johansson, a 9.9 in her first collegiate vault. Weren't quite able to sustain it. That was a 9.75 from Lauren Bridgens in the anchor spot, but overall 49.025. Penn State will be very, very happy there. Mixed bag for Temple. Some good news, but 2 falls on bars also.
It's true. Temple had some tough times on bars, but they were able to push through. They finished strong with their last routine there. But those 2 falls are going to hurt them. We'll see what they can do in terms of coming back and getting themselves to be competitive in this competition once again.
Penn on beam after opening with a 46.850 on the uneven bars. They went to beam and they put together some really nice routines as well. Didn't quite find those high scores, but very consistent top to bottom in this lineup. Again, to get back out on beam in competition for the first time in a long time, they have to be pretty pleased with what they saw.
It's true. Beam is one of those events that your jitters will come out really the most there. And so it was nice to see Penn come out strong and really have a strong set from each of their gymnasts.
All right, so 2 rotations in the books in the third. Penn will be on floor exercise. Penn State moves to bars, and Temple will move to beam. We'll get you the lineups there. We'll start with Temple on beam. Brooke Donabedian, the sophomore, will lead off, followed by Summer Ruski, Renee Shugman, Madison Durunda, Hannah Stallings, and Juliana Rowland. 3 freshmen in the beam lineup for Temple. So this will test your youth to see how the Owls can handle that on beam. For Penn on floor, they'll open with a freshman, Isabel Song, followed by junior Ariana Agarwala, senior Cindy Craze, 2 more freshmen, Bella Garrett and Olivia Van Horn, and sophomore Sarah Kennefick. And then over on bars for Penn State, Penn State, what a terrific bars team they were last year, number 19 in the country on this event. They'll be led off by freshman Jessica Johansson, sophomore Maddie Johnston is second, Cassidy Rushlow third, and 2 fifth-years Alyssa Bonsall and Lauren Bridgens fourth and fifth. Maggie Mace moved into the 6th spot from an exhibition spot after warm-ups concluded tonight.
It's exciting to see freshmen starting off on these events as well. You know, this is not only their first time up on this event, but they are also in their first competition as well. So it's exciting to see how they're handling the pressure, and so far these girls are off to a good start.
All right, and we are ready to go here with the third rotation, beginning on floor exercise for Penn is Isabel Song. That's at the bottom of your screen. Up on the bars, Jessica Johansson for Penn, and on the beam, Brooke Donabedian for Temple.
And Coach Nielsen said that this team looks different on beam this year. He described them as being more clean and having more posture. So we'll see, hopefully, that will both shine through in each of these routines, starting with Brooke. Front aerial to back handspring step out, clean and connected there.
Meanwhile, a stuck landing for Jessica Johansson, and what a start for her after the 9.575 on the floor. She had that stuck vault 9.9, sticks her bars dismount as well. And her night is finished on 3 events, but she's feel very good about her collegiate debut here in Philly.
Absolutely.
Speaking of great debuts, Isabel Song opened with a 9.8 on bars at the very first routine of the night. Going here on floor.
Round off double tuck there from Isabel. She had a little bit of a big step there on that landing, but a hit nonetheless.
Meanwhile, Brooke Donabedian finishes off with a round off 1.5.
That's a strong start there for Temple. They needed that coming off of bars where they struggled a little bit. So hopefully that could start getting them back on track.
Yeah, Donna Beatty is just a sophomore, but a ton of experience, competed, I think, in almost every meet as a freshman, and brings just a world of confidence with her. She's the floor anchor as well for this team, so she was a big contributor as a freshman, and a lot expected of her this season as a sophomore. Penn State opens with a 9-8 for Johansson. Up next will be sophomore Maddie Johnson as she mounts the low bar.
Nice handstand there all the way up. Shoot over. Right to the handstand, back up to the high bar. These clean handstands. Giant full to a double tuck dismount with a stuck landing. She was able to hold on to that one. A little bit of a leg separation on that double tuck. The judges will see that and take a deduction. Whew. But she did get that stick. We've got our next routine starting on beam and floor. Round off double pike for the first opening pass there on floor. Nice amplitude, good landing. Layout step out there on beam. Able to hold on to that landing. Kick over front there. Clean landing so far on beam. And she's moving through with this dance.
Summer Rusky on beam for Temple. Ariana Agarwala on floor for Penn State, and getting ready to go now on the bottom of your screen. Excuse me, top left of your screen, Cassidy Rushlow on bars.
Switch side there from Summer. Had a little bit of difficulty wobble on that landing. Front layout, front full on floor. Summer finishes up that beam routine with another hit. So Temple is 2 for 2.
That's after an opening 9-8 from Brooke Donovan. They'll feel very good about that. Meanwhile, Penn State fired up another great bars dismount for Rushlow.
Great landing there. As you saw, her teammates were excited to see that. They greet her with many high fives after that routine, and they are ready to move on to their next gymnast and keep their momentum going.
Yeah, well, I said Penn State is a great bars team. They were 19th in the country last year, and big part of the reason why these next two gymnasts, Alyssa Bonsall and Lauren Bridgens, excellent. Well, Bridgens had the Achilles injury last year, but she's had a 10-0 in her career on bars, so she is a 10-0 caliber gymnast. Bonsall last year had a 9.95 at the Morgantown Regional in NCAA competition. So these next two routines could be really special for Penn State, and they want to protect Maggie Mace, who they got called up out of that exhibition spot. They put her 6th, so you hope you hit the first 5 in front of her, let Maggie go up there totally unencumbered, and just go out and have a pressure-free routine. So we'll see what the two fifth-years can do.
And that's usually the game plan, putting someone like that in that 6th spot. You expect everyone before her to hit their routines, hit them well, so as you said, she could go up in that last spot with no pressure.
Meanwhile, a 9.85 is the score for Cassidy Rushlow. Penn State rolling along on bars. Alyssa Bonsall up on bars in the top left of your screen. On the bottom is Sydney Craze, the senior for the Penn Quakers.
Alyssa shoot over handstand right up on top there. Back up to the high bar. Strong cast handstand. Toe shoot to hand. Giants to a double layout with a huge stuck landing. Good for her.
You can tell Penn State is feeling it right now, and they should be. They're on their best event. They are knocking it out of the park. Craze, meanwhile, opened with a nice double pike with her first pass on floor. She's following a 9.675 from Agarwala.
Punch front layout, front full for that second pass there. Big amplitude. She's having fun with this routine. I always like to see them with a big smile on their face. Getting ready for her last pass. Round up back handspring, double tuck. Nice landing, clean there. And she is pumped about that routine, and she is letting her teammates know.
Sydney has been, she's a senior, she's a veteran on this Penn team, has been through so much with, again, the COVID pause that everyone across the country suffered from in 2020, but then not to compete last season in 2021. Great to see her back out there on an event that she has been so good on for so long. And Lauren Bridges, the fifth-year senior for Penn State on bars, up fifth, and up third for Temple on beam is Renee Shook.
We've got a giant full on bars to a double tuck dismount and another stuck landing. Wow, that was a nice clean dismount. Penn State is rolling along here with these stuck dismounts, one after the next. Looking over to beam, side stummy there, a little bit of a wobble on that landing. The foot came off the beam, the judges will take that deduction. Straddle jump, straddle quarter. Always a difficult time when you are landing and not actually looking at the beam. As you saw, her eyes come off the beam there for that landing. She'll finish with a round off to 1.5 dismount, little hop there. Put a solid routine. Her teammates are there to greet her with those high fives.
And that's after the opening 9.8 for Brooke Donabede, a 9.65 from Summer Ruski in her debut. That was Renee Shugman. On floor right now, freshman Bella Garrett.
Double pike there from Bella. Nice amplitude, good landing.
And in the top left of your screen, Maggie Mace finishing up for Penn State on bars, where they have been excellent back-to-back 9.9s for the Nittany Lions.
Maggie back up on that high bar, 2 giants. Double layout and another stuck landing. Kevin, that's incredible. We have seen so many stuck landings there from Penn State.
I mean, it's one of those old gymnastics cliches that stuck landings are contagious, but you see a lineup like that for Penn State, and that's why it's a cliche. It's got some teeth to it. And
it's true.
Boy, you get those experienced gymnasts in front of her. Rushlow, Bonsall, Bridgens all hit. Mace, who gets called up after the warm-up was done, comes in, sticks as well. Great finish for Penn State. And they are just getting stronger and stronger as this meet goes on. Unfortunately, you saw there a fall on the third pass for Bella Garrett. A tough finish to the routine there for the Penn freshman.
As you said, Penn State is building on each and every routine, but unfortunately, Penn did have that fall there on that last pass for Bella. But as many of you know, in gymnastics, one of these scores will not count. And so the ideal situation is that it is that one routine with the fall that does not count.
Well, and your comment, Noelle, is unfortunately perfectly timed as we look at a fall on beam for Temple. That is freshman Madison Durunda, who comes off on her series. And that will now look to be the routine that Temple drops.
That was a tough fall for her, but as I was just saying, hopefully this is a score that will not have to count for them. And even with those falls, it's important for these girls to get back up and finish strong and show their teammates that they are still there for them. They're still in this. She'll finish with that punch front full dismount. And her teammates are still there for her regardless, but there is pressure now on these remaining routines to hit. Front handspring front double tuck there for the opening pass on floor. Again, a unique pass. You don't see that too often. She did it well, a little bit low on that landing. But it's nice to see some of these unique skills being performed tonight. You hear her teammates there on the sideline cheering her on. Double back tuck there for her next pass. Clean landing. And you'll see she lands on a mat there. The gymnasts are allowed to do that. And if you can see in the corner, they actually mark where the lines would be on the floor. So a lot of times that just provides a little bit of an extra support for those landings. Hopefully helps their joints a little bit, absorb those landings. But it is allowed. She'll get ready for her last pass. Handspring front full to layout. Good landing there. This routine should score well. Hopefully it gets them back on track.
One more counting routine left for Penn on floor. That will be Sarah Kennefic in the anchor spot. And then we are expecting an exhibition from senior Lauren Joost.
And so it looks like we have Hannah up next on beam, and she is a true freshman. And as we mentioned, we just had that fall before her, so it will be interesting to see what Hannah does here in terms of being able to step up for her teammates. It's not an easy position to be in, but it sounds like from what Coach was saying, if anybody can do it, it's Hannah.
Yeah, Noel, if you remember, in the second rotation, it was Hannah that followed the opening fall from Tori Edwards, so her teammates not making it easy for her in her debut, and of course a little bit tougher on beam, obviously, to get up there and follow a fall, but I think if there is a freshman that Temple wants to do that, it would be Hannah Stallings.
It's true, and as you just mentioned, she's already done it once, so if nothing else, she's got a little bit of experience here. Starts with her lead pass. Full turn. Always nice to get that skill out of the way. You'd think it would be the easiest skill, but sometimes it can give you the most trouble. Her series is a back handspring, back layout. Performs it very well. Clean on that landing. Split jump to a standing layout step out. Again, very clean. And that's how Coach described her, is clean. Clean with her gymnastics, her skills, big amplitude. And those are a lot of the check boxes that the judges are looking for as well. So she's coming into the home stretch here.
Sarah Kennefic, meanwhile, getting started on floor at the bottom of your screen now for Penn. And as Hannah finishes up.
And finishes with a stick. Good for her. Hannah being able to come back and perform well under pressure after a fall as a freshman. It's great to see that.
So one more hit routine for Temple, and they can drop the 8.825 from Madison Durunda. They have senior Juliana Rowland, who has been excellent on beam throughout her career, both at Bridgeport and at Temple. And we get a look now, so we'll go full screen to check out the end of Sarah Kennefic's routine.
Finishes with a nice front handspring layout, double fold there, and a clean landing. Her teammates are right there to give her those high fives. She's got a big smile on her face. She's happy about that one.
Maggie Mace, by the way, I know we were late getting you that score. She was the bars anchor for Penn State, had a 9.775, so that didn't change the overall team score for Penn State. 49.225 on bars. They have certainly gotten stronger, Noel, as the meet has gone on, and they have opened up quite a bit of distance between themselves and the Owls and the Quakers here.
It's exciting to see how this meet is unfolding here, and there is still one more event after this, and you never know what can happen.
Now, Temple finishes on floor, which was far and away their strongest event last year. Always an advantage having that on your home floor. So to try to set the table for that transition to floor, here is Juliana Rowland in the anchor spot for Temple on beam.
Juliana, a senior for Temple. has experience under her belt and should be confident moving through this routine. But again, anything can happen, and especially when there's a little bit of extra pressure. Back handspring layout, step out. A little wobble there on the landing. Moving into her dance pass, it looks like she was maybe supposed to connect that switch kick into something. And as I mentioned, it was supposed to be into a side aerial, but she does repeat it and connects it well on that second try.
Bottom of your screen, meanwhile, exhibition floor routine for senior Lauren Jukes.
Juliana getting ready for her dismount. Round off 1.5 there, stuck landing, strong finish for Temple on beam. It's great to see that. They are back in it. They were able to come back from that fall, stay strong, and that keeps them in the game here.
That was after a 9-8 from Hannah Stallings that really saved the day for Temple and turned that momentum around after the fall from Madison Durunda. We'll see what the routine scores for Juliana Rowland. Penn is finished on floor. This is an exhibition routine for the senior Lauren Joost. Finishing up.
Round off double pike, lands with her chest down a little bit there, but it's great for her to be able to get this experience in front of an away crowd.
All right, we have an exhibition beam routine for Temple, and then we will come to our final break of the evening before we return here for the fourth rotation, which will put Penn State on beam, Penn on vault, and Temple finishing on floor exercise.
As Coach mentioned, they have depth. They have depth on each event, and we've seen that so far. They have girls compete these exhibitions, and they've had several girls who have been in and out of that COVID protocol. And so to be able to have gymnasts that they can stick in on any event and be able to be competitive, it's great to see that. And these lineups will probably change throughout the first few weeks of the season as everyone kind of settles in and figures out where they will be best placed. And they're still vying for these spots. Slight balance check there.
Hannah's not getting any help from the home arena PA here. The music, I think, is louder now than it has been at any point tonight. I think we've heard quieter floor music for Hannah, but she is up there just blocking that all out. Great series, very calm, very composed right now.
That's what they call a pressure set.
That's right.
She's handling it well. You can handle this, you can handle anything. There's a full turn. She's getting ready to wrap up this routine. And a bit of a unique dismount there in the front full. She's excited about that. It's good to see that enthusiasm. And they'll carry that with them to their last event this evening.
And Temple bounced back nicely from the fall. 2 hit routines from Stallings and Rowland. And with that, we have come to our final break of the evening. We'll step away and come back with the fourth rotation. Temple on floor, Penn State on beam, and Penn on vault. When we finish up, it's the opening weekend of the NCAA season. We'll come back to McGonigal Hall in just a moment. Kevin Kopp and Noel Couch with you here in McGonigal Hall. Fourth rotation about to get underway, but first let's take a look at our third rotation highlights. Penn State and Temple in the opening weekend of the 2022 season. And we will begin, Noel, on balance beat with the home team, the Temple Owls.
We saw some strong routines here from Temple. Unfortunately, about partway through the lineup, they did have a fall, which they had to come back from. But as we were talking about previously, Hannah, the true freshman, was able to step up her game and get the team back on track with a strong finish there.
Yeah, she's had to follow 2 falls tonight, has hit all 3 of her events. She'll finish up her night in the all-around on floor, which is where Penn was in the last rotation.
Penn had some strong routines there on floor as well. You saw these girls excited to be out there. We had some unique passes with that double front tuck there.
And Sydney Craze, the senior, you want to talk about fired up. She was had so much emotion, so much energy after that routine was complete. And great start to her senior season as well. But the story of rotation number 3 belonged to Penn State on bars. They absolutely knocked it out.
They really did. Penn State put on a show on bars. There was one stick after the next. They were there for it. They were excited about it. As you saw, double A out there, huge sticks. So they really ran away with those routines there on bars. So it'll be exciting to see how these teams finish up on their last event.
Yeah, 3 in a row, including that one there from Lauren Bridges. The last 2 from Alyssa Bonsall and Lauren Bridgers, the 2 graduates who opted to come back for their 5th year. 2 of the 3 Penn State grads who came back for a 5th season both had 9 nines to highlight that routine. Penn State overall goes 49-225. They have just built and built their lead as time has gone on, and they have opened up quite an advantage by a little more than 2 points over Temple, who is almost themselves 2 points over Penn. So, no, not a lot of drama in terms of the placement and the order here going into the final routine or the final rotation, but obviously there's a lot for each of these teams. This is just the very first meet of the season. What this is going to come down to at the end of the season is your NQF score, and very rarely do you get something in week 1 that's going to count toward your ultimate final positioning for NCAA regionals anyway. But for Temple, they've got to shake off some of that slow early start. They want to take something positive with it. They've got a big meet next week at Iowa State, and Penn, you know, trying to get back out on the competition arena for the first time in a long time, trying to feel good about how they finish as well. And Sydney Craze gets them started with the first vault of the evening.
And it's true, Kevin, these routines and these scores that they do tonight, you know, they may not carry that score that they get as their all-around score with them, and it may not count for that final score at the end of the year, but they will carry these experiences with them. So for all the positives they can take out of tonight, to see the true freshmen out there coming back after falls, and just to be able to be there for their teammates out on the competition floor is huge. So the scores may not be with them for the end of the season, but these experiences certainly will.
Junior Bella Romagnano is up on the balance beam. Unfortunately, has to put her hands on the apparatus, so deduction coming there for Penn State. Meanwhile, getting underway on floor exercise is sophomore Renee Shugman, as we will go to the double box here. Temple on your left, Penn State on your right on beam.
And Renee actually only competes 2 passes, so with that, she makes up the difference with her bonus there in her dance. So she gets a lot of extra bonus points by her huge dance skills, and you'll see those coming up here soon. And that allows her to only need to be able to complete 2 passes. And as you mentioned, tough start over there on beam. So hopefully they will be able to stay strong throughout the rest of their lineup and not be able to have to count that first score.
Just had the second vault, another front entry vault for Penn. Olivia Van Horn, the freshman. She'll be followed by Rose DeBarbery, Ariana Agarwala, Kirsten Belkoff, and Isabel Song, the freshman, will anchor things for the Quakers.
Double pike there for the second and last pass for Renee. A little short on that landing, so she will take that deduction. But a hit for that first routine for Temple.
Noelle, I'm going to age us both for a minute here, because in your day, when you have to start saying things like back in your day, your day is my day, though. We have the same day.
It's true.
But two-pass routine, almost unheard of. Gina Nuccio, one of your teammates, had a two-pass routine, which at the time, I mean, it was loaded with the requisite bonus, obviously, to get it to where it needed to be, but that was a real outlier at the time, and you're seeing that become much more of a prevailing trend across the NCAA now.
It's true. When Gina did it back in our day, it was unique, and it wasn't common to see two passes, but you do see it much more often now, and as I mentioned, the girls can make up that additional bonus that they need to get to their 10-0 start value in their dance, and so we see that more often. It's a little easier on the girls' body as well, not to have to do 3 tumbling passes.
So Renee Schutman gets things underway for Temple. Juliana Rowland, the senior, will be second. Hannah Stallings finishes up her night in the all-around up third. Tori Edwards and Faith Leary, 2 graduates, will be fourth and fifth, and Brooke Donabedian in the anchor spot for Temple. All right, up second on the beam, Melissa Astorita, the senior.
And Melissa is following the mistake before her, so she's going to need to have all of her confidence here. And she starts with a punch front, steps forward.
Yeah, 9.375 was the number for Romagnano that they would like to drop.
She'll move to her series, back handspring, layout, step out. Good landing, a little bit loose legs there in the air, so the judges could take a deduction. When you want to see these girls with clean, straight legs, pointed toes, this is what the judges are looking for, and obviously those clean landings. Finishing with that gainer full on beam and a hit routine, which is what Penn State was looking for.
Yeah, big bounce back there from Astorita. They've got the freshman Bella Salcedo, who's been excellent tonight, up third. Cassidy Rushlow fourth, Amy Blayton fifth, and Lauren Bridgens will finish the night off.
Huge double pipe there on the floor. Off to a good start with this routine from the senior, Juliana Rowland. She is a performer. She's having a fun time with this routine. You can see it in her face. And hopefully she can keep up this tumbling passes to match. Front layout for full. Clean landing. You see her teammates on the side there cheering her on. It really does make such a huge difference when you're out there competing and you know that your teammates and your coaches are behind you all the way. You hear their voices, you see their faces, and it gives you that little extra boost of confidence that you need, especially right here going into her last pass. She's going to finish her with a double tuck. There it is, nice clean landing, chest down a little bit, but overall a solid hit there from the senior.
All right, we've got a rare moment to catch our breath here. Judges over talking at vault and at beam, so a little bit of a delay here in our final rotation. Getting ready to go third is Bella Salcedo for Penn State as we await the score for Astorita. We're expecting to be a better number after the opening 9.375 from Romagnano.
Penn State should definitely improve with that second routine there, and hopefully they can keep the momentum going.
Yeah, big improvement. Astorita gets a 9.8.
It's a great score from her. Full turn there from Bella. She'll get ready to do her series. Back handspring layout, step out. Right over the top of the beam. Moving through with her dance. Oop. Balance check there on her lead pass. It's always a little bit more of a deduction when the gymnast actually picks her leg up off of the beam as opposed to maybe just shifting her weight to the side a little bit. So that will be a bigger deduction from the judges there.
All right, back on vault now on the right side of your screen. Up fourth for Penn, Ariana Agarwala.
Big vault there from her, huge amplitude. Little step on that landing. Beam finishing with that punch front full step landing there. Teammates are happy to see that. And we've got the freshman starting on floor.
Yeah, Hannah Stallings capping off her night in the all-around. She has gone 9.725, 9.65, and 9.8 tonight, but keep in mind she has been following 2 falls on 2 of those 3 routines.
Hannah's having a fantastic night for her debut. It's wonderful to see a freshman come out here looking so confident and doing so well in her debut. And she really is a performer. She has clean leaps, huge amplitude on her tumbling. And is getting ready for her next pass here, and she is the only competitor right now, so all eyes are on her in the arena. She's been under all the pressure here tonight. Double pike there, step forward, small reduction, but a big double pike, big amplitude. Her coaches and teammates are happy to see that, and she has had a wonderful night tonight.
Yeah, Noah, wouldn't you say that typically for a freshman, even when the skills are there, the performance aspect is sometimes the last thing to come around because it's such a different transition to competing in the NCAA and, you know, the crowds and the way that you're playing to the judges and the crowd and your teammates sometimes and all of that. And she seems to kind of have it from day one.
It's true. Competing at the collegiate level is so different from the club level. It really is more of a team atmosphere here at the college level, and to be surrounded by all your teammates and see their faces, as I was saying before, it really becomes more of a performance. And she has really stepped into that role so nicely as a freshman. It can usually take several meets before you get to that place.
And an unfortunate fall for Cassidy Rushlow, and Penn State really just was putting it all together in these last 2 rotations, and unfortunately has taken a little bit of a step back here on beam.
It's tough to see that, especially after they were coming off of such a strong event there on bars. Students struggling here on beam now.
On floor exercise now in her 5th season for Temple, Tori Edwards, team captain.
It's so incredible to hear you say that. 5th season here.
On floor, still doing 3 events.
Still doing 3 events.
Still putting in numbers.
Absolutely incredible. Strong front double full there. She's got a big smile on her face now that she's got that one out of the way. 3-pass leap combination. She'll get bonus for that.
Kristen Belkoff on the left side of your screen.
See Tori's teammates doing her dance on the sidelines with her. That was one of my favorite parts of competing. Just having the team do your dance with you on the side, and I often hear many comments from those who are watching the meets to say, wow, that's impressive that your teammates know the same dance that you do. I said, you know, we practice that. We do that in practice before we go out into the competitions.
When everyone in the competition lineup for Temple got new choreo in the offseason, so there's a lot of new moves to learn as well. So this is not the same routine that Tori has done for her 5 years here at Temple.
One and a half front layout from Tori. She's got to be happy with this routine.
All right, back on beam now to Amy Blayton, the junior, following a fall, 9.075 for Penn State. That's the low number right now that they would like to drop.
I think quick layout step out there for her series. Solid landing. Side stomach, a little bit of a wobble there, picks up that leg, so she will get that deduction. It's important for Penn State to just stay on the beam at this point in time. Move to side aerial, solid finish.
And the last vault of the night, Isabel Song, very impressive debut for the freshman. Big Yurchenko full, popped up on the landing, but good height, good distance from the table, and she had an excellent night overall. Got the meet started with a 9.8, and she'll finish things up here. One more exhibition vault for Penn, but we should have the final score for them momentarily. Unofficial final score here on your screen. Meanwhile, 9.775 for Tori Edwards. That matches the high score for Temple on floor. Juliana Rowland also had a 9.775. 2 routines left, including next up for Temple, the reigning Eagle floor champion, Faith Leary, who had a 9.9 to win the conference title last season. Another one of those 5th years, another graduate here competing for Temple, and big things expected of her on floor exercise, where anytime you come in with the pedigree of being a conference champion on this event, something to be excited about.
It's a huge accolade, and Faith actually earned an NCAA selection as an individual on this event in 2021. So this is one of her stronger events, to say the least.
Saw a nice Yurchenko full exhibition from Emma Davies, and I will say for Penn, their vault difficulty has stepped up greatly since we last saw them. A lot more twisting vaults, and they finished at 48.375. They actually had their best event of the night on vault, so they can feel good about how they finished up.
That's great. It's a great way to finish the meet for them, and as we said, it is still the first meet, so you want to definitely take note of the things that were done well. Obviously, you'll have things that you want to improve on, but happy for Penn that they were able to finish on a strong point there on vault.
All right, Faith Leary on the vault, and on the beam is Lauren Bridges to cap off the night for Penn State.
Front kick over on beam, solid landing. Side aerial, again, very clean on that landing. Faith getting ready for her next tumbling pass. Huge double tuck. Unfortunately, does take a step forward, so she will take that deduction, but a hit. Her teammates are there with the high fives. And it's wonderful to see Faith out there, as we mentioned, as a 5th year here on one of her stronger events.
Unfortunately, as we come to full screen, a tough end to the night for both Bridgens and for Penn State, as Bridgens comes off the beam here in the final competition routine of the night, finishes up on her dismount out there, but that's a tough way to end. They were avoiding, taking the big number with Romagno's 9.375 counting.
It's tough to see that. It really is.
Yeah.
And beam is one of those events, as I mentioned earlier, that if you have a little bit of nerves, that's where it's going to come out. It's going to come out on beam. And so hopefully these girls can get back in the gym, work through some pressure sets, and then come back in their next competition ready to step up their game.
All right, so over on floor now, the last competition routine of the evening is Brooke Donabedian for Temple. Career high 9.875 on this event.
He is a sophomore from Maple Valley, Washington. Opens with a beautiful Rudy layout step out. And as you mentioned, all of these girls have new choreography this year. It's exciting to see them get out here and perform that for the first time. And she's having fun with this routine. It's great to see. Getting ready for her next pass. Out of bounds there on her landing, so they will take that 1/10 deduction. But another hit routine for Temple. And it's these little mistakes that they're making in competition that they will be able to improve on throughout the season. They'll get back in the gym. They'll work on these improvements that they can make, and they'll come back out at their next competition, and you'll watch them have stepped up, be a little bit better, and you'll see that come out in the scores as well throughout the season.
Yeah, Noah, like we said, it's very rare you come out of a first meet and say, okay, that was great, nothing to improve on, we're good, we're just going to coast for the next 12 weeks. Every coach is going to come away with something to take out of this meet. Even Penn State, who, despite the issues on beam, going to have enough to get the victory. They'll be pleased with that, obviously. You want to compete and you want to win, but it is a little bit of an anticlimactic finish just because of how they wrapped up on beam once they had so much going in their favor on vault and bars. Well, while we have a moment here as the final unofficial scores are tabulated, before we give those to you, let's take a look at the upcoming schedules for each of the three teams in competition today. These are presented to you by the Valley Forge Sports Events and Tourism Authority. Temple is going to head to Iowa State. That's a great test for Temple right there, as they'll compete in the Chow's Winter Classic there against the Cyclones. Penn State will take on Yale in a dual meet, and the Penn Quakers will head down to GW for the Lindsey Farron Invitational, where they will also see UNC and Cornell. Brooke Donovan-Egan's score was a 9.675 in the anchor spot for Temple, so we will have the final unofficial scores to you momentarily. While we have a moment, let's do our routine of the night, and this is presented to you by David Otto. David Otto, I've always been your dealer, if you didn't know it. And the routine of the meet has to be Penn State on bars, Noel. You could take your pick, but we picked Lauren Bridges, who again had the 9-9, but also because of her story, coming back from a torn Achilles to compete here in her 5th season, and to do what she did here was remarkable. Just a great routine.
This was such a clean routine for Lauren, and as you said, that the biggest point here is that she came back from that injury, and she just had a wonderful night here, and bars was certainly her highlight.
Penn State, coached by Sarah Brown, and did enough to get the win tonight. They were their best in the middle of the meet on vault and bars, got off to a little bit of a slow start on floor, and unfortunately a little bit of a tough finish as well, counting the fall and then counting another bit of a routine with some big deductions on beam. But I think this will be a formidable team, and Temple and Penn State were right in the mix last year, where Temple was number 30, Penn State was number 33. They both have postseason aspirations, and clearly a little bit of a ways to go coming out of meet number 1.
I'm sure Penn State and Temple are both walking away from this meet with some mixed feelings, some mixed emotions. There were certainly some highlights here, especially from the freshmen, and also the fifth years that stepped up and really showcased their talent here with those landings and being able to really step into some tough positions. But then also there were some rough spots too. But as we keep saying, first meet of the season, you also forget that these girls are coming off of holiday season where they were dealing with finals in school. Some of them were home. Some of them just came back not too long ago. The COVID protocols. So there's a lot of dynamics here that the girls and the teams at large have been dealing with. So I'm sure we'll see things smooth out over the next few weeks as the season progresses.
Oh, no doubt about that. And each of these teams, as we just told you about their upcoming schedules, they'll get tested next week. Penn going on the road again down to GW, a big test for Temple. And Penn State will be thrilled for sure to go home, get a Yale team in a dual meet, get to compete in front of their home crowd. We talked about it, Noel, at the beginning of the meet tonight, how exciting it was to have fans back in the building, but it will be extra exciting for Penn State when they're Nittany Lions fans in their building, and the joy and the rush that comes from competing at home as well.
Absolutely. There is something special about being able to compete at home in front of your own fans, and so for these teams to be able to go home after this and be able to be competing in front of a crowd that they're used to and that's cheering for them. I'm sure will be an entirely different experience, but it was exciting for Temple tonight to open up at home in front of a rowdy crowd, and they were loud and they got behind these girls, so it was fun to see that. I'm happy to have these fans back in the stands.
All right, time now for our final unofficial scores. These are presented to you by the Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, and you can see number 29, Penn State, gets the victory with a score of 194.575. Temple will take second with a 193.450, and Penn opens with a 191.3 in third place. Well, that is going to do it for us here at McGonigal Hall. For my partner, Noel Couch, I'm Kevin Kopp, saying so long from Philadelphia, where Penn State opens the 2022 season with a 194.575 and a victory in the inaugural Keystone Classic. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
Thank you for watching my gymnastics video. I think I'm going to take a break from uploading gymnastics for a while and charge my phone, and then I'll start another video. I actually liked this video, and one other person liked it, so I'm glad it got 2 likes. I got a cold, so my voice might not seem normal at times. See, this is where I taped it, using the Roku. I use the ESPN app to stream the meet. It's like 4:42 p.m. Baton Rouge time. There will be a whole lot more gymnastics videos because the season is just getting started. But there are a lot of There are a lot of gymnastics meets on the ESPN app that say that I can't access the media, like the LSU one. So that's why I don't have it on my channel. But I mean, I'm sure LSU gymnastics meets are put on YouTube by other people.